Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Battling 101 Team Building. Today we're going to be making a Mega Gallade team. This one is a team that I made with my two Ts. Somebody commented that they wanted a Mega Gallade team, and so here it is. We're going to be starting off with a Sub Swords Dance set with Close Combat and Zen Headbutt. Now, Sub is really nice for forcing switches, just like gaining advantage while forcing switches out, as well as Swords Dance. It really depends. But for stuff like Heatran, for example, that likes using Protect and Toxic and all that jazz, Gallade is really nice because you can Swords Dance on the Protects, or you can Sub or whatever. Sub on the Switch, or Swords Dance on the Protects, just whatever you do. Like, this team just, like, dismantles really slow-paced teams. You know, base 110 isn't, like, the fastest in ORAS overuse, but it really gets the job done. Outspeed stuff like Keldeo, so it's not that bad. So then we have an additional support sweeper with Manaphy. Manaphy is nice because it beats stuff like Slowbro. Also takes advantage of Heatran, I guess, but the main thing is that this Manaphy can set up on Slowbro and just like Energy Ball stuff. Manaphy is like a really threatening sweeper to have, so this pairs well, especially since like Manaphy loses to like Venusaur and Ferrothorn, right? So these are things that Gallade handles, which is always very nice to have. And then we're going to be pairing this off with like some sort of support. So we're going to be having Clefable, because Clefable is just a very good all-around purpose Pokemon. This is very nice because you want stuff to switch into Scald, which is really annoying for this team. And then we're going to be pairing it off with Hippowdon. Hippowdon's going to be making sure that we're not losing to stuff like Assault Vest Raikou or Thundurus. We're going to have Special Defensive Hippowdon, and it's going to provide us Stealth Rocks, and it's going to just provide a general backbone in tandem with Clefable. You know, Clefable handles the status, Hippowdon has all the stuff that we don't handle, like as I said before, just like the electric types like Raikou and Mega Manectric, those kind of things. I guess also Zapdos. Zapdos isn't as common, but you know, Hippowdon is always nice to have. And then we have Talonflame. Talonflame is nice for our Stall Breaker, as well as Priority. We always want Priority on almost every ORAS overused team. There aren't many exceptions to this rule. You know, Priority is just great, and you always want to have it on almost every team. And then we're going to be using some sort of Stall Breaker Talonflame with Bulk Up and Taunt. This is really nice for, again, the slower paced teams, the stall teams, the teams that run shit like, I don't know, Chansey, things like Skarmory. Skarmory can be really annoying for this team. So, you know, just stuff like that. And then, since we're running Talonflame, you want to pair it off with a Defog user. We're going to be using Latios. I like using Latios over Latias, because as you can see here, our team isn't very threatening, like, right away. I mean, Gallade is probably the most threatening, and honestly, Gallade isn't that strong. Like, you may be saying, like, yo, what? Gallade isn't that strong, but, like, compared to other things in ORAS overused, it really isn't that strong. So, I mean, just use it as, like, a threatening Pokemon who has, like, sweet potential with Swords Dance. And then you have stuff like Manaphy. You know, Manaphy isn't strong right away. You want to get, like, a Tail Glow in. Fables are support, Hippowdon is support, and then with like Bulk Up Talonflame, obviously that doesn't like pack a punch right away. So Latias, it provides us to fog, and it also packs a punch right away, which is always nice to have. We're gonna have Roost on here because we want it to be living longer, and coverage isn't that much of a concern right now. So yeah, this is our team. We have Gallade, just to reiterate, we started off with the Gallade, then we paired it off with Manaphy the Sweeper. We added the support Pokemon in Clefable and Hippowdon. We needed a Revenge Killer / Stall Breaker, so we added a Talonflame. And then since Talonflame needed a Defogger / Entry Hazards removal, we went with Latios because we want some extra oomph on this team, as well as Entry Hazards removal. So here's the finished product. We have Close Combat, Zen Headbutt, Swords Dance, and Substitute. As I said before, Substitute and Swords Dance are really nice for taking advantage of switches and missed turns from your opponent. We have Manaphy, we have Wakanberry. Now, in our late night laddering session, we got like a lot of status on the Manaphy, and we didn't get to use Wakanberry that much. And since we have Hippowdon and Latios, I don't think it's that big of a deal. So what you can do is you can actually use Lumberry on this Manaphy. Now, Lumberry is really nice because, yeah, you get rid of Toxic, you get rid of, like, Burns, you get rid of a lot of, like, nasty things that can hinder your sweep. We're going to use Surf, Ice Beam, Energy Ball, and Tail Glow. Pretty standard. 168 speed. Make sure you outspeed, max speed neutral base 100s, for example, like Charizard, right? So it's always nice to have. Yeah, I think you also outspeed most Kyurem. And now we have Clefable, Moonblast, Knockoff, Fire Blast, and Soft Boil. Now, not a lot of people use Knockoff. Now, Knockoff can catch a lot of things off guard. For example, Gengar, Gliscors as well. You know, a lot of special defensive Gliscors, like switching into Clefable. So if you knock them off, then that's just great. Then they just can't like recover with Toxic Orb. It's amazing. Just catches a lot of things off guard. Remember, Element of Surprise, always nice to have. Now we have our Stall Breaker with priority. We got Brave Bird, Bulk Up, Taunt, Roost. This just shits on Stall. We got 248 EVs and HP just to make sure that we hit an odd number in 359. And then we have Max Special Defense and then just 8 speed. We got Latios with Draco, Meteor, Psyshock, Defog, and Roost. Very standard. Max. And then we have our Hippowdon. Now Hippowdon is really integral to this team, because as you can see here, we have no flying resist, and Talonflame does a shit ton to this team. So if you see a Talonflame on your opponent's team, you definitely want to keep this healthy. Make sure you keep this healthy and make sure that you can Stone Edge it for a game, because that is going to come in handy. Like, trust me on this. And we have Sandforce here instead of Sandstream because obviously, like, the rest of our team doesn't take advantage of Sandstorm. So it's always nice to have Sandforce instead of Sandstream, because in the case that like your opponent is packing a Tyranitar or whatever, your Hippowdon gets an extra boost in power with Earthquake and Stone Edge. And as I said before, Sandstorm isn't doing much to help this team. So that's it for today. We have a late night laddering session for this team that I'm going to upload shortly, so peace out.